Oh, hey, Alice. Fancy seeing you here. You walked in at a good time. I got Perry and Russell from Spirits Republic, and then we got Gabe here as well.
Howdy.
You remember Gabe, Honey Dagger, and Hound Dog Symphony. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks
for Oh, and we also got Richard the Mayonnaise, Ricky DeMeo here as well. He's kind of outside of his comfort zone, so he's a little shy right now. But you guys have a new song coming out tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, Brain Poke. Like your music, this interview is just going to kind of just be all over the place and not stick on one thing at all. So what's the inspiration for Brain Poke? Did you guys write that together?
We definitely wrote Brain Poke together.
3 years ago, something like that.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years ago?
I mean, it's like loosely
I think it was
COVID era.
2021. I think we wrote it, and yeah, that song's a doozy. If I remember correctly, I wrote like chunks of that on guitar and brought it to you guys. I'm like, I think this needs to be just really over the top. And then me and you worked on the lyrics together.
Yeah, those also took a minute to just hammer down. But
Yeah.
we didn't want it to be like too on the nose pandemic stuff. We wanted to have a pretty loose interpretation. I think we captured that as best as we
I think
could.
the only thing that has to do with the pandemic is literally like me hearing Brain Poke somewhere, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
A Q-tip right
That's
up to the
cool.
noggin.
Yeah, this is a good time in the world. We should write a song about it.
Yeah.
And then is that going to be on Sleeper?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then Sleeper's coming out May 19th.
May 19th, yeah.
Be on the lookout for that, Alice. And then you guys are playing a release show at the Cobra
Yes.
the next day, the 20th.
Yeah, the 20th. And that's the Cobra front room.
Chemtrail, Psychic Nurse, Saturday night, 8 p.m.
Free show.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be late, Alice. Don't sleep on Sleeper, because I'll know. I'll be there.
We'll all know.
We'll know.
Yeah.
We'll know.
What you got coming out? Coming up.
Oh man.
Coming down.
Well, Honey Dagger's traveling to Illinois to play a show. It's literally just my cousin's graduation party. She was like, "Dude, does your band want to play my party?" And I was like,
Nice.
"We'll totally play your party." And then after that, May 22nd is Hound Dog Symphony's first show.
Hell yeah.
Got a little band assembled of some pals that were. I was just gonna play myself and Scott from Honey Dagger, but then I had other friends that were like, "I'll play with you. I'll play some keys. I'll play bass or whatever." And I guess that's how it works. That's how you just assemble a team real quick.
Yeah, Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, Nick Fury. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, where's that gonna be at?
Cafe Coco.
Okay.
Oh,
That's what's
nice.
up.
Yeah, well, Cafe Coco. And booking with them is really easy thanks to what is it called? Can't remember. But Bernadette Booking. Bernadette Booking is like super chill dudes.
Right on.
Yeah.
What about Spirits Republic, like as a name? How'd you come up with that?
So a long time ago, before Perry was in the band, we were at our original drummer Taylor's house trying to think of names, and we had some stinkers in there for sure. But
You always do.
I think after like an hour of us just sitting there, like he starts grabbing books out of the shelf, and he was really like well read. And considering that like me and Ricky basically can't read, like we were just like let's see what's going on, and he whips out a book. It was like Spirit of the Republic. And then we're like Spirits Republic. And then we're, we don't hate that, so it got like whittled down to a couple other like pretty bad names. And then we're like, okay, like Spirits Republic, we all don't hate it. So so we rolled with it. We were almost the Wild Argyle. We were almost Gar Sucra because it was a combination of our favorite foods. Mine was sushi. Taylor's from like Macon, Georgia, so like it was like okra because
That's amazing.
it's a weird. I was like,
That's your
okra?
favorite food.
I was
though.
like an Annie for it, whatever. And then Ricky's was garbage. So right, for sure you want that? Yeah, garbage. All right, so Garsucra, and then like I think my mom like basically begged, she said, "Do not name your dad."
Oh, you were really considering it.
I still am considering it. But yeah, so we went with Spirits Republic, and here we are.
Well, I'm really glad you did.
Yeah.
As great as the merch would be for what did you say it was?
Garsukra.
Garsukra?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I already have it like okra inside like a sushi roll, like in a trash bag or something, you
Oh,
know,
wow,
that
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been.
That's what we
Actually,
should have named
talked
the
about
EP. Damn.
Garsukra. Well, it's not too. There actually was a Garsukra song, which I found. It's actually on the desktop of my computer. Like we played it one time in like the first like 6 months of the band. It was like it had a cool like little breakdown in it, but like it really wasn't a very good song.
So how long have you been operating as Spirits Republic? Long time.
Our first show, I think, was in November of 2016. So we've been kind of doing this for a while.
Yeah.
In a couple different iterations of the band, but yeah.
I remember seeing you guys years ago. I can't remember where, but
They
like
have long hair.
you guys have been been around a long time.
We've been around, yeah. Me and Ricky met. We both actually like moved here at the same time in like January of 2016. We met over that next summer, but yeah, no, we haven't let it die. Just keep
Music never dies.
music does not die.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York originally.
Okay. Are you also from New York?
I am. We're both from Long
yeah,
Island.
we're both from Long Island, New York.
I gotcha.
So you like it's okay if you want to end the podcast.
Yeah. See, Alice. I've never actually been to New York, but my sister and my parents live there now, and I'm actually flying out next month.
Oh, that's part of it.
South Wappinger Farms, somewhere.
Falls?
Falls, Wappinger Falls, something like that.
Okay.
I don't. I'm so bad with geography, but yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that might be like Southern Tier near Binghamton or Watkins Glen. I'm trying to think. No,
I have no clue.
It's
That name sounds
it's too
familiar.
bad we don't have a map or anything.
Yeah, listen.
I didn't bring my map.
Yeah, just fold it out. It's like, see, this is but while I'm up there, I'm gonna go to it's called the Entheon, also known as the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, but it's the band Tool, the guy who does all of their album art.
Alex
Okay,
Gray.
I know
Alex
where this
Gray.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
yeah,
kind of upstate.
that's
kind
near
of-
New Paltz,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Okay,
Dutchess County?
honestly I have no
Yeah.
idea. No matter how far it is, I will drive from my parents' house to go do that because I might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
should. I
amazing.
actually have no people who've been there.
Really?
It's cool. I haven't been there myself. I hear it's pretty.
I'm
Wow.
very excited. I think it'll be interesting if nothing else. It does look a little culty, but I was watching an interview with Alex and Allison Gray, and they were it was Joe Rogan, and he was asking them like, why are you guys a church? And they were talking about how it's a tax status thing, and like that allows them to do certain things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to legally.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they seem like pretty level-headed people, even though they got some out there ideas. It'll be interesting to
They've
just
been a pretty successful life for themselves over
Yeah.
the years.
I have some Alex Gray artwork in my house.
Hell yeah. I'll take a bunch of pictures to show you guys. But it looks like you guys have seen the outside of the building, probably.
I think so.
It's like it's got all these like DMT faces on the outside, like wrapped around the building.
Hell yeah.
And then you go inside and it's just like this huge art exhibit. At least that's what it looks like from
Yeah.
pictures.
So like the 10,000 Days album cover a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot like that. What have you guys been listening to like in the last like week?
Last week's been pretty eventful music wise. I was at the East Side Bowl Friday night to see Microwave. Shout out Microwave from Atlanta. So they're like a post-grunge alternative, kind of heavy, but also pretty dynamic band. So I don't know, go on a kick like when I see a band live. It's only my second time seeing them, but like I'll just be all about them. And then I don't know, coming up, there's some prog metal shows. There's one taking place at the East Room. I'm gonna head up tonight. There's Mastodon Gojira, Haken coming up. I know you're a Haken guy.
Yeah.
So
Gojira.
mostly that stuff.
I think that's really funny. Like everything you named has been like live shows you're going to or have been to. Like what do you listen to in the car like recently?
I listen to mostly podcasts when I'm driving,
Okay.
honestly. Yeah, music, I don't know, like when we're in the writing process, because we've been also working on new stuff while this stuff is being pushed out. So I'm trying not to listen to too much music on the
makes
way
sense.
to practice. So I don't have like outside influence
Oh, yeah.
where I don't want to cover. I don't know. No, I like going in fresh when we jam because we start every practice like a 15, 20-minute jam. So
We're the best jam band that no one will ever see alive.
That makes sense.
yeah.
Because like obviously a lot of like you guys have really good synergy, and obviously the songs like I've seen you guys perform is something you guys have like nailed down and like practiced. But I bet the formulation of that is almost like a jam.
Kind of. So I mean, it comes from like different directions because it just depends like how we're writing. Sometimes, like as the singer and guitarist, I will come in with like pieces of a song, you know, like verses and choruses, and we write off of that. Other times we are literally just jamming for 15, 20 minutes and it sounds like nonsense to us. And then we like listen to it back, like, oh wait, this was really tight. Or like there was like a piece like, oh, you were doing that thing. Like Ricky, you're doing that tapping thing, and then like he'll start playing it. We'll start making a song out of nothing, and then it becomes like, let's see how many parts we can try to pull out of our ass at one time before we completely burn out and have to take a fiver, and then it becomes the long writing process of actually finishing those songs. But yeah, I would say, I mean, for most bands, I feel like just getting out there and improvising and just like warming up properly. Like we were able to do that for the show last night, which was like super nice because everyone showed up like an hour early, and we're like, okay, we could jam for 10 minutes and like run some songs. Because, you know, fun fact, we actually, even though like I feel like we were pretty tight last night, we were really bad in practice on Thursday. Like really, even like my fiance, like in the upper level of the house, was like, sound pretty.
You guys fucking suck.
I was like, woo. No, I just didn't. I mean, the truth is that like I'm kind of a professional pot smoker, but Perry hadn't smoked in a month, so it was 420. So like I was just like, and Ricky doesn't smoke, but like, you know, I was like, ooh, Perry's playing real fast today. And I just look at him like, he looks a little...
Which is like the opposite effect that you would think based off of. It's like,
man, getting stoned and playing drums is just such a fun fucking time.
well, I like writing when I'm in that state of mind, but as far as playing specific songs that we hadn't touched in months, that was definitely not the move.
Well, the thing with like Liquid Smoke too, it's like I know the guy who like books it, that guy Eric who was there, and he you know, like they're very big on like don't be too loud there. So like we have a couple different versions of a 40-minute set that we can play, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna play some stuff that's a little less balls to the wall for part of the set, but we're still gonna, you know, peek it out at the end. And you know, we're like, oh yeah, you know, these, you know, like some of the songs were released last year, but we haven't actually played them in any shows because we keep having these 30-minute like straight banger sets that we do. So we always play the same combination of like the hardest songs that we have when we do those short sets. So I was like, oh wait, we haven't played these songs in 3 months. Like, oh no, I forgot how to play guitar.
I was you guys didn't play my favorite Spirits Republic song.
What's that?
Which I can't remember the name of, but it's
someone that's like, yeah, I am Lord.
yeah.
Oh, hot.
Yeah, that's
good
the-
on a Wednesday.
That's the one. How'd you know?
Throwing a lot of tune.
Figured.
Yeah, the one with like severe synth auto tune and a drum machine. You just replace Perry for easy. Get the fuck out of here. That song, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Drummer number 9 has to be
I think you're
located.
I think in the lyrics you're saying Dream Eater in the chorus. It might not be Dream Eater. Dream Eater. I don't know. I'll find it, and but yeah.
I feel like it'd be Ego Angel. What did you sing in the chorus for? Other than Ego Angel.
Ego Angel.
I'll find
But
it.
it's like,
You'll find it.
is it drony? Is it more funk? Is it more?
Does it have slap bass in it? That'll whittle it down.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But
No.
also, there's something I really like about you guys as a group is how there's so many changes. Like it reminds me, this is a weird comparison, but like Paul McCartney's solo career.
I love Paul McCartney.
I fucking love Paul McCartney.
Like, I'm a huge. That's like what I was listening. That's what I listen to a lot of the time. And like I feel like a lot of because I wasn't always a singer. Like I only started singing when I was like 18. But like Beatles and like specifically Paul McCartney solo music, as far as like cramming together songs in the way we do,
yes.
That's where he's more into the prog and like metal. I like my prog, but like, yeah, that's how I like see songwriting. I'm like, well, the Beatles did it, you know, like you can pretty much take any given part, and as long as you write a decent transition, can kind of bridge whatever idea.
He was a master at that, and
He still is, man.
Yeah, and you guys are too. Like where it's like it like crazy change ups, but it makes sense. Like you're doing prog drums, but it's like it's not out of nowhere. Like the song changes and then comes back. It's fucking, if you haven't seen Spirits Republic, it's a fucking trip. Definitely check them out at Cobra coming up. But yeah, you said you've been listening to Paul McCartney
I'm
like recently.
always listening to Beatles and Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
It's like a constant.
My first tattoo was a Beatles tattoo. Actually.
Oh yeah?
Sweet.
Where's that at?
It's right here. Blackbird flag. It's a big blackbird.
Oh nice. Cool.
He's lying. It's a tramp.
You know what's
stamp
a
of Paul
fun- you know-
McCartney.
you know the fun
You
fact
gotta
is-
show us now.
I don't know how to play Blackbird on guitar.
I learned it once, but I didn't learn like the picking pattern or anything. I just learned the chord. So it's like,
I don't know. Like I feel like every year, like it's just someone's in disbelief. What do you mean you know the Blackbird? I'm like,
yeah.
like I know how to play all these like weird, crazy songs. I learned fucking Donna Lee at one point in fucking college, and I don't know how to play Blackbird. Maybe I should do that today.
What about like in the house growing up? Like, what did your parents listen to?
So my parents really didn't. Believe it or not, my parents actually don't have like any impact on my musical taste. Like my dad listened to like doo-wop.
Okay.
And like he did like the Beatles, but not like the fun Beatles. So like I never hated the Beatles or anything, but like it's like she loves you, yeah, and like all like the early Beatles.
Yeah, my grandparents are the same way.
My mom really liked Billy Joel, and like I'm from Long Island. It's like standard issue.
Yeah.
But, like no, it wasn't a very musical household. My older brother is like a pretty crazy musician, so like I feel like he was really into like Blink-182 and Green Day and like all that stuff when I was like really young. So that kind of like started the rock obsession.
Talk about your Weird Al.
I love Weird Al.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, first piece of music I ever bought was Weird Al running with scissors on cassette.
Hell yeah.
I still need to watch that movie.
Oh, it's
So good.
fantastic.
I
It's so good.
I was wary of it until I heard that the director specifically wasn't trying to like that's a mockumentary kind of thing.
And none of it's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Almost none of it, I think.
I feel like that is the perfect way to do that movie.
Yeah. No, it's like it's really good. Like,
I'll have to
you
check
should-
it out,
you
too.
should- You should watch it.
Oh yeah.
What kind of music did you listen to growing up?
So I've got kind of like an interesting hybrid of my dad was all about the smooth jazz, Kenny G, CD 101.9 was like the New York smooth jazz radio station before it switched formats. So I remember just like going to the dry cleaners to pick up like dress shirts with him and just having it play in the car and just, yeah, a lot of memories of that stuff. So through that, like Bob James, Spyro Gyra, a lot of kind of that really like groove oriented stuff. And then my mom was, kind of like the 80s rock, introduced me to Styx and Boston, Fleetwood Mac. But the two of them together were big into Phil Collins. And I
Okay.
think
Hell
Yeah.
that from Genesis to his solo stuff, that just seeing what a broad base of musicianship he as an individual had. And I would go back and I'd listen. You ever listen to the band Brand X? That's like his fusion project. There's no vocals of him on there, but he's just drumming like an absolute madman. So yeah, I think Phil Collins definitely was the spark that ignited this whole drumming thing. I don't know.
The Tarzan soundtrack though, man.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to God.
He had no business going that hard on fucking Tarzan. Come on.
Just
now.
needs to be about gorillas.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Did you was drums the first instrument you picked up?
Actually, I want to say I touched violin very briefly back in like my days as a toddler. I don't know. This was like during the Suzuki method craze of like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Suzuki
I was the
method?
only white kid in the class.
I don't know
So
what the Suzuki method is.
I've heard of
It's-
it, but I'm not.
yeah, so basically it's introducing your kid to violin, piano, for like a 3-4-year-old age and just
Seeing who's a prodigy.
yeah, and this-
Okay.
it got to the point where just the shrieking and shrill sounds of the strings, my parents were like, I think we'd rather you play drums. And gave us a migraine that way. Yeah, no. So violin briefly, piano briefly, saxophone in like middle school, but drums, I would say from like 6 or 7 throughout. I took a bit of a break when I thought I was going to be like running track and stuff more regularly. And then I messed up my knee the last meet of the season in 8th grade. I was like, I think I'm going to take drums more seriously. less likelihood of injury. Still possible, but
Right. Yeah, I've definitely hurt myself playing drums, just like stick flying at your face or something.
the worst I think is stick flying at your face, accidentally hitting your own hand.
Oh yeah.
From
Drum
the-
injuries are so rock and roll. I've had more than a few drummers like who cut their hand open on like stage and keep playing. There's like blood spatter everywhere.
Greg
like,
from Maiden Mother Crone has cut himself
Dude,
more
Greg
times. I feel
yeah,
like
that guy is such a good drummer.
he's like, I think I still have some of my blood on your floor tom. I'm like,
How'd
that's
that
rock and roll.
like cutting yourself with a stick somehow?
It must have been, yeah. I don't know how up.
You don't
Or
even
just
realize how it's
hitting
happening.
the
'cause you're moving
rib,
so
yeah.
fast.
Or just having a cut that was already probably pretty.
I gotcha. Yeah.
He's a madman, but phenomenal drummer.
That's,
What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm sure you like Polyphia also.
Yeah.
If you're a Haken guy.
I've only seen them once though. I saw them open for BT Bam on their Colors 10-year anniversary tour. So I missed them this most recent
Yeah.
tour.
I had tickets to see them and Circus Survive, and then COVID happened and that show got canceled. That was actually, I'm pissed about that because that was at Mercy Lounge, and
Yeah.
that's just not gonna fucking ever happen again.
dude.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the story with that whole complex? Are they gonna do kind of like an exit in level revival or not?
I
really?
don't think so. I think Cannery's done.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. We're losing venues. It sucks. I mean, that's not like Cannery Row is not the only thing. You know, like it's changing. It's we're in Neo or New Nashville. It's not what it was in like 2016. Like I moved here around the same time. So
House shows were still going on in Nashville pretty heavy into 2016, and that was like, the glory days of post high school for me. I was just like going to my friends.
You from
shows.
Nashville?
I am originally from Florida, but middle school to now I've lived in Tennessee.
Oh, no
so,
kidding.
yeah.
I
We
grew
played a
up.
lot of house shows. It was like we were a house show band before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively.
You guys remember the old Dark Matter? It used to be in the
Yeah.
You know,
house.
fun fact, I've never been to Dark Matter.
Really?
I feel like either like the shows I want to go to get canceled or I just have
Or they're
not made
sold
it
out
out
of it,
there.
or it's like a fall
We
of
have not
Troy
played
show
there.
that you can't even think about getting
I know I
tickets
need
to.
to. I'm like
Yeah.
always like looking at the calendar for shows I can go to because I feel like I just need to go there.
Yeah. Dark Matter's cool. It's like more of a venue now, but it
Yeah.
used to be a house.
It's always been DIY. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, there were some nuts shows there.
Has Honey Dagger played there at all?
Yeah, we played there, I don't know, a handful of times, 4 or 5, something like that.
Oh, the reason I brought up Polyphia though, when you were talking about the Suzuki method, he was classically trained on violin at a really young age.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
he talked, or Tim Henson, and he just talked about how much he fucking hated it, and he picked up the guitar as soon as he could. He's like, "Fuck this."
A lot of it's part of that. I think if something's being drilled into your head, you're like, I know I like music, but if it's not this instrument, there's so many others you can try. I have no guitar knowledge whatsoever.
I'm pretty bad at the drums. I had a couple phases where I could pick up and kind of play like a disco beat, but like it doesn't last.
Do you ever just mess around on the kit? And you're...
No, he keeps his kid at my house, but like very rarely. Very rarely. Sometimes I'll be like just feeling saucy and I'll go in there and be like, I suck. And I'm tired and like I feel stiff. I don't know how to
Honey
do this.
Dagger is the same way. He's like, let me try this. And you're like, please don't.
Yeah.
Not really.
Speaking of
We tried
badass drummers, Austin is a
Dude,
motherfucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin's
Mhm.
nuts. He was a band kid in high school, so
Okay.
like he just has those rolls and stuff down. Like he's had them for forever. So
I was telling, like, that was the first time I'd seen Honey Dagger, which is crazy to me
yeah,
because I've known you guys a while now.
yeah.
And I've seen Scott in a couple other projects,
Mhm.
but I was really blown away how tight you guys were last night.
Thanks.
Like I was telling Scott, like both of you like really have a lot of control over your voice,
Mhm.
and he was saying that you guys
Yeah.
we're in the same
We were in choir, yeah. It was chorale, the upper whatever echelon of the choir. We were, fancy schmancy, but yeah, we were little tenor boys, singing pretty for
Little tenor boy.
Yeah.
Little tenor boy.
That was us, man.
When did you first pick up guitar?
I first picked it up. I was probably like 6 or 7. I didn't really stick. I think I was in like second or third grade. Like I had this it was like one of the little Squires. It was like that big. And then I picked it up like actually, like I like started taking lessons again. I think I was like 11 and just kind of stuck with it. I was really unathletic. I still am. So like sports did not really happen for me when it happened for everyone else. So I was like, I got to figure something out, or else this just
Keep
nothing's
yourself
really
active.
gonna happen for me. I'm never gonna, like be sexually active or anything. Like it's just not looking good. Looking at my genetic pool, I'm like, it's not good. Like one person in every generation gets like the athletic gene. And that was definitely my younger brother. So like, yeah, but I hit it pretty hard, and I like was pretty obsessed with like different like Metallica and like weirdly hair metal, and like I loved Guns N' Roses at like that age, and Avenged Sevenfold when they were like up and coming. So I like just like started going nuts and learning like every song in Guitar Hero 2, and like and so it went.
I feel like
So-
Guitar Hero was a very good like gateway for a lot of kids, like, whenever that came out, like that
Oh, we
definitely
were
shaped my music taste as a child.
Oh yeah, we were. I mean, we played that nonstop. It was like the people I wanted to play music with too. Like that's what we did.
Mhm.
We weren't like trying to jam.
Yeah.
And there was a couple songs I'm like, man, this is so hard in Guitar Hero. I think like Sweet Child of Mine. Like
Yeah.
I was like, this can't be that hard of a song. I remember I learned it on guitar when I was like 12, and I was like, it's so much harder in Guitar Hero than it is on actual guitar. And there's so many more like things going on in that are like not actually in
Yeah.
the song itself.
Yeah, I learned that riff in like an afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like a kid, and everyone was like, whoa. I had like my like tiny little Marshall amp, and my I had a Schecter.
Hell yeah.
Actually,
So
great, a
metal.
great guitar. Like, I mean, I don't regret selling it because I got like I don't remember what guitar I got when I sold that, but great guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schecters are great for like, hardcore metal stuff, like tapping. I don't know. I've had like one before, but
You mentioned your older brother and your younger brother. Is it the three of you guys?
Yeah, three boys.
Do you have siblings?
I have a younger sister who's not very musically inclined. She took flute and piano lessons very briefly, but she was more athletic than I, so she played a lot of basketball.
When what kind of influenced the decision to come here? Was it music?
You were here first, so you
I've been here for like 7 years. Yeah, I moved here like after graduating college, like a couple months after, and just the pursuit of music and not having to like cut my teeth and live in New York City and like
Yeah.
do that whole grind just like didn't seem super attainable without like living at home, saving up money, and then like I work in like freelance production, and I was doing that back then, and I was like driving these trucks through Manhattan, and
God, that
it
sounds
was
stressful.
insane. Like I would be like on like 20-hour days, like, hey, can you just meet at the shop on Long Island and like drive like to the Saks Fifth Avenue on Fifth Avenue at 5 o'clock, and then go to the Jewish Museum in Brooklyn, drop off this TV, and I'm like driving this box truck. I'm like, this is not what I signed up for.
I bet that took years off your life.
It kind
sounds
of did.
rough.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I can still drive box trucks and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just
PTSD.
like, there has to be another way. So I kind of had like an opportunity to move down here, and I knew a couple people down here. One of them being the first drummer of Spirits Republic, who we played together in college. So I was like, okay, at least I know like a drummer who's down to like play down here, and like let's just move down here and see what happens. And
Yeah. So did you guys already know each other before you moved here, or?
Nope. So I moved here coming up on 4 years. I moved here the day after my 25th birthday back in 2019. And Russell's fiance and I went to the same college together. And I was like, just like reaching out to people I knew in Nashville. So she put the two of us in touch. We jammed a couple times, and they were looking
time came. We were like, you know what? Our 9 drummers have not cut it, so we need to.
This is my favorite lineup with Spirits Republic.
I mean, this is the
It's fucking
perma. This
great.
is he's the perma drummer.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
made it
guess-
longer than anyone else.
it'll be 4 years in November.
Hell yeah.
Well, it was good. We've had a handful of shows in like late 2019, early 2020. Shut down. We
It's
wrote
true,
all
yeah.
this music, and we're still churning it out.
We caught like the like I feel like we had the one album we recorded, the 10 like Hourglass, and that was like the songs we had written together the first year we were a band. Recorded that knowing that our first drummer was going to leave. Like he was like going this whole trip to Europe, and then he was like getting married, so we're like, okay, he's done playing drums for a while. And like we kind of just went through this loop of like finding drummers to play, and like we were touring a bit, and like just kind of played this one album, a group of pretty badass covers, and probably had written like 2 or 3 songs outside of that. that we played for like years. And then we met Perry and we actually started writing some wacky music. And fast forward, we've probably written almost 20 songs together.
Easily.
Easily, because we have the 12 that like the 6 that we put out last year, the 6 that we're putting out in a couple weeks, and then
We had 4 that came out in 2020 that I guess most were like pre-formed. Yeah.
is one of those a little bit longer.
No, we didn't release that.
It kind of.
Kind of.
What was the 4th?
Yeah.
There was Decor, City Lights, On and Bound.
The kids cover.
I kind of.
We wrote it. We wrote
Yeah,
Kids by
we wrote
MGMT.
Kids.
That reworking is so good. Though.
Yeah.
I was losing.
That's
It's
all Ricky.
Ricky's actually the one who usually comes up with like the banger covers. He just kind of.
Yeah.
I thought I also realized what he likes. He likes things where like it's just bass in the verses.
Yeah. Ricky's a motherfucker, man.
He's a motherfucker. I know. Yeah, he's not
Let's give him a grope.
Oh, well, especially just giving his background, like drums were his first instrument. So
Oh, really?
The way
Yeah.
he like constructs grooves and riffs on bass, I can tap into, and it makes it super helpful. Whereas I played with bass players in the past, who are like, I'm just not as good at guitar, so here I am playing the bass.
Do you have any ghost stories?
How many ghost stories? I have I knew you were gonna ask this because I do listen to this show. So I don't have any good ghost stories other than like I've been waking up between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. sometimes,
Hell yeah.
and I feel spooky. We have one that involves the two of us.
You do?
It's not a ghost story, it's a pre-ghost story. So do you remember like it's like October of 20? We went to the zoo. We both had off for I guess back then it was Columbus Indigenous Peoples Day. You know where this is getting at.
I know where this is going.
And so you went to the zoo, you know.
We had a great man day. We went to like Little Joey's House of Pizza.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Joey's.
Joey's House. No, I don't know why I got
RIP.
Little Joey's.
Little Joey's.
Big Joey's.
Tiny baby Joey.
We got Little Joey. Got Big Joey.
Medium Joey.
Yeah.
Medium Joey.
We did that.
We had a nice like man day. We like went to Joey's House of Pizza. We went to the zoo. We had a day. You know.
Yeah. Got back to your apartment and watched Scream 4.
Yeah, that sounds about
So
right.
you're watching Scream. Eventually the movie ends. I, get up to leave. I go out to my car. I'm like a little paranoid because I see a Metro Nashville police car and a fire car as well.
So I was kind of living in the hood. I was like living in this. I was living in an apartment complex on Murfreesboro Pike.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it was a good size space, but it was a pretty not great apartment complex. They were pretty awful, but like, I mean, I was tight with the neighbors. We had each other's back and stuff. But yeah, so he calls me. He's kind of paranoid for multiple reasons.
I'm like,
but like,
did someone rat us
I mean,
out?
two
Like-
adult males did go to the zoo together, like So he was feeling a little paranoid by the time he left my house, and he calls me. He's like, "Yo, like, I don't know if like maybe they knew that we were smoking in there because there's like cop cars," and I was like, "What?" And yeah, I guess the person who lived above me like OD'd, and there was like totally was like that whole day we were hanging out was like totally dead.
Oh,
my
shit.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know I didn't really know her, but like I talked to the other guy who I did know who lived there like a day later. I kind of like went outside. I was like, I don't know. It's like I don't think they're gonna come. They're gonna come into my apartment and look and be like, "What were you doing? Scream 4, huh?" Must be pretty messed up to make it through the whole thing in that. No, that I would say the vibes were down. I mean, the vibes were never great in that place to begin with, but like I definitely things definitely did not improve. I feel like that place was just like a catalyst for grouchiness and bad energy.
Oh,
Yeah, so I guess not a true ghost story, but I felt like that was worth sharing just
It's a
because
spook story.
it was
As someone
weird.
who's like really into paranormal stuff, I haven't really had that many I haven't had any like real things I would consider. I've had people tell me ghost stories from their own life, but like I haven't really seen anything too spooky.
I can relate to that. I was always interested. I was raised like really religiously, and I think that's a part of why I was always so fascinated with the occult and supernatural. But I didn't believe it. I just kind of like I liked it aesthetically, like Hot Topic.
So like because we're Jehovah's Witness, right? So no birthdays, no
Nope, no holidays. All of that's pagan and it's
Right.
not actually Christian, which is true. Like they got that right. Like all of our like Christmas has nothing to do with Christianity.
Not at all.
It's
No.
Yuletide that they adopted it. The Romans adopted it. That's a whole thing. But like Easter, all of them. So and birthdays, that's pagan too, because there's one example of a birthday in the Bible, and it's some princess that asks for John the Baptizer's head as her birthday present. So they bring her his head, and it's like, see, birthdays are bad.
Wow.
Also, we don't celebrate Christmas, so which is the birth of Jesus. So why do you deserve a birthday? So anyway, long story short, I didn't believe in the supernatural until I like specifically sought it out and like brought that on myself. And that I've seen some pretty crazy shit. That we could get into that later, but yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Like, yeah, I was very fascinated with it, but I'd never like seen anything. I just heard other people talk about it, which like I'm still I don't believe in poltergeists. Like I don't think a spirit can levitate Ricky's brain. I think
Yeah.
that defies physics, and that does not make any sense to me. But I think you can be tapped into certain things, which kind of gets into my next question. Like, where do you guys think art comes from? Like, what is that? Does that originate with you, or is that like a channeled thing? Whatever order you guys want to answer that.
I feel like it comes from experience, especially the human element of art. But now with AI and everything, it's like, is it relying on us to provide experience for that generation?
I think so. I think when it comes to AI art, that might take things in a level that I think all it can do is improve upon what's already there.
Yeah.
I don't think AI is ever going to come up with something original, let's say.
Because if you're having a reaction to art, most often it's rooted in an experience that you've had at some point where it resonates.
Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the idea of an original idea is kind of like that's not a thing in general, because even if you have an original idea, that's a combination of two other things that you've like combined together that you've experienced at some point in your life.
Mhm.
I agree with you. It's very
totally agree with
experiential. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like it's literally like your own interpretation of what's going on around you and your life experiences, and probably like genetics will dictate how and if you can express it.
Yeah.
Like I can't draw. Like I really can't draw well. Like I like a smiley face. Like there's always an indentation in the circle. But I can play music, and that came to me very easily at a younger age. And I'm like, okay, like that makes sense. Skips a generation because like further down my lineage, there are musicians and musically inclined people. And like it turns out like my mom like is a really good writer. So when I started writing lyrics, I guess it came easier to me than other people to be able to express in that way. But I feel like people who do art, some people can just like have some vague concept, and just, like I know it's not in the camera, but like something like that, like see something and be able to draw it and express it, or maybe someone can describe it or write it out, it's just. But sometimes, like if people aren't challenged or have something happens in their life that makes them want to go the artistic route and they fit the mold, they may just never feel an inclination to want to create anything.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had a traumatic experience or something, they would, feel more inclined to write poetry or try their hand at like drawing or,
I think that's a big thing is like trauma. Like
totally.
Will or so like I think trauma can trying to say this without like mystical terminology, but it's kind of like the everyone has potential in them to do a lot of things, but like some people don't ever have that potential actualized because there isn't like a trigger for that. And it's like I think trauma is a big one that like brings people out of their shell, and also like it can be psychedelics too. I think
Definitely.
like acid,
Yeah.
mushrooms, that kind of stuff can like kind of rework the way you're thinking. And I would actually lump that in with trauma too. It's like psychedelics are controlled trauma. It's like I'm going to purposefully induce trauma on myself.
Yeah.
The only reason I kind of like go back and forth, because I completely agree with you guys about like where that art comes from, like it's experiential, but like the thing that kind of makes me still kind of like think about it, I guess, is like we were talking about jazz earlier, and it's like that's just happening.
Mhm.
And it's like you couldn't really like if you were to ask the guys doing that, it's like where did that come from? That's like I don't know, it just happened.
Like a reflex.
Yeah.
Involuntary.
Saying that you're thinking about that and like, okay, I'm going to do this next is like, I feel like that kind of art almost suffers if you're putting too much thought into it. Whereas like if it's a natural, just coming through you kind of thing, I don't know. Maybe the answer is it's a lot of things. Art is there's a lot of different ways to do it, I guess. That was kind of a rant. Do you guys have any thoughts
No,
on that?
it's all great points.
Yeah,
and like art now, you have all the multimedia aspects of it. You have audio, visual, sensor. Like I don't know. My fiance is a huge foodie, and like I was someone that before meeting her, I just kind of like ate to eat, to like just appreciating the art form of food. And you're this way too.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely a foodie.
Yeah.
And I love to cook. I think if I didn't play music, I would probably cook.
That's
I
an
use
art
the same
form,
part
too.
of my brain when I'm cooking that I do when I'm like improvising.
Okay.
It's like
I
knowing
started to get there, but I'm still pretty bad at cooking.
I cannot cook.
Because every spice has its own like character. So I'm like, oh man, like I take this, I mean, I need like salt, but it needs to be like smokier or like tangier, and I'm like, and it's kind of like you're like, same thing with like playing music. Like, oh man, like I have to fit this like piece in here, and the sound's kind of like mellow and a little tame, so I want to make it like more exciting. You're kind of like putting little bits in at a time to make it, what you think the best it could be.
right. And
kind
just
of the
knowing how the sense of smell is linked to memory, and just you can remember something like you go to a stadium and you smell the hot dogs and popcorn, and like that takes me back to like going to Jets games as a kid with my dad, my cousins, and just being
Yeah.
like
You go to Wrigley Field, you smell the piss trout. You go to Yankee Stadium and somebody pisses on you in the parking lot.
That's art, baby.
Those were the good times.
The formative
Those were the good
moments.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like, I don't know, going out to a restaurant, which there's so many good ones in Nashville coming out, and just like having that transient experience with food. It's like you'll never have that specific meal coming into it. Maybe you had a good day and you're celebrating something. Maybe you had a crummy day and you want to comfort yourself. But it's like knowing all the factors that play into that one singular experience, and then you'll never have it again. No matter how many times you go back to the same restaurant, order the same thing, it's never the same.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's interesting. Like, because you could have the same meal twice, but not the same experience twice. So I guess there's a component of that of like what you bring to that experience.
True. Yeah.
It's like your palate could change. Like, I guess a lot. I don't know how that shit works, but like, like things could just taste different. Like,
Yeah.
at different times, I guess.
Yeah, I used to hate olives along this
I fucking
time.
hate. I still
I
fucking
still-
hate.
I fucking hate olives.
I'll
I
eat
can't
them
do
on a
it.
pizza, but
No, yeah, I
otherwise,
can tolerate them in the right, like a muffletto. Like I could deal with the olive spread pizza. We can hang out with a few black olives.
Yeah.
Can't eat them out of the.
But do you like
Oh,
pickles?
God.
Love
I
pickles.
love pickles.
So I was that way too. I was like, love pickles, hate olives. And
There's
eventually I'm
a,
like, olives aren't
there's a
so-
brininess.
Yeah.
There's a saltiness. I don't know, but I get it. A lot of people do.
No, I'm a hard like hate olives person.
All right.
No,
Fuck
no
olives.
olives. Not even on pizza. But I love olive byproducts, like
Like
an
olive
olive
oil?
spread, like an
A
olive oil.
tapenade, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I have no explanation for that. It's just
I mean, that's how I'm with tomatoes. I hate raw tomatoes, but I'll eat them cooked,
True.
but or like tomato sauce, obviously. It's in everything, but not everything, but Italian. I love
Yeah.
Italian, but yeah, it's fun.
Tomato fest.
I think it's a texture shift thing. I actually hated tomatoes growing up. I would not touch tomato or tomato sauce. That changed as I got older. But like I usually I'll eat like 1/5 of the tomatoes on my plate. Like if it's on a burger.
Mhm.
I think it's like the slime. It's like the seeded slimy part. I
Yeah.
can't get past it.
Tomatoes are definitely something that's like if it's starting to get old at all, like if it's not fresh, Like it's not good. I feel like where it's like as soon as that starts to break down, it's not good. Or I guess like lettuce is probably the same way, where it's like lettuce goes
spinach,
bad really
dude.
quick. Yeah.
Spinach leaves, if you leave them in a bag too long, that you get that like, weird juice, and they all look like they've been like pressed on or something.
Right.
But I love spinach.
So this next question, no one on the planet knows the answer to, but I like to ask everyone what they think about it. Do you have any preconceptions about what happens to us after we die?
Well, someone who's died before, no. I can imagine it's a lot like, pre-birth, that we entered this life from the void and we return to the void in a sense. But also part of me thinks like, what if you get sent up to this waiting room and you're given some forms to fill out, and it's like a self-assessment of how accurate you
That's
think
not
you
heaven,
lived
my
your
dude.
life.
That's not heaven.
It's not.
That's
There's
not
no
what they do
heaven
to you
or
in
hell.
heaven.
It's just a waiting room and you're filling out forms and you're like, I died for this shit. How many times did I masturbate in 2014? How many what if that dictates your sorting? It's like you had no self-awareness. You were an asshole your entire life.
I think at that point, God's an asshole because it's like you didn't give us a fucking instruction manual, and the ones you did give us are fucking stupid.
Yep.
He doesn't have a great track record. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
Fair
None
enough.
of plagues and
Yeah.
pestilence. Yeah.
What about you, Russell?
I mean, so I am Jewish, so like, obviously it's like I'm kind of, but more like culturally Jewish. I don't really put that much worth into the afterlife. I feel like we get recycled in some way. Like I think our bodies, I like personally I find the concept of being buried very silly. Like I feel like that's just not a very like practical way to like use your organic material and like spend all that money and like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, let's go shopping for graves. It's like it's fucking stupid.
It's
Like being buried with your family, like who needs to do that? Like you're done. You're out of here, I can scatter my ashes around here, the 3D printer in the other room. Maybe, just maybe reconstruct me into something useful, but like I feel like that like there's like we have energies and there's certain things that are just kind of like just like related to like life and death, that are just a little too like weird sometimes. Things kind of like fit into place at times or not, and you have moments of clarity. I feel like some version of ourselves in that energy or the soul or whatever has to be, like I don't think it just ends. I think it, just we end up in some other version that we started out in to be recycled into wherever. I mean, reincarnation just seems a little too like clear cut. Like you were shitty, so now you're like like you're a porta potty now. Like,
Sentient porta potty.
Sentient porta potty.
Poetic justice.
Yeah, like you're now like a fucking flower in a porta potty because you were like the worst, or like like now you're a cat because you were super lazy but pretty nice. Like I feel like that's a little too simple for me, but like I feel like there's gotta like I'm not one of those people who's like, all right, close your eyes, it's done, that's it. Like we're just who knows.
I think on the subject of like coming back and being recycled, in Egyptian mythology, I think it's Anubis holds your heart and weighs it against a feather.
Is that or Osiris?
Is it Osiris?
But Anubis is the jackal, right?
I'm pretty sure it's Anubis.
Yes, I think he's the underworld.
I think it's him.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about that.
Osiris is a shoe.
Osiris is a shoe.
I wore Osiris shoes for years.
I had a pair.
They're comfy, they're wide, got wide feet.
But yeah, and you would continue with your.
And then basically, if your heart weighs more than a feather, he tosses you to Amit, which is this giant crocodile or alligator. I don't fucking know, one of the two. And that thing eats you. And then what's left after it shits you out, I guess, is like just the soul. And that gets repurposed, like formatting a hard drive. It's like, okay, you can do anything with this now. There's no data on it. But like basically it's like it would be like a culling of like you have to hit a certain barrier of like of character, I guess. And then it's like if you haven't hit that, then you get recycled until you finally hit that point. Which, like, if it is reincarnation, that makes sense to me, I guess, where it's like at least there's some like rhyme and reason to it at that point. And then like the explanation for life in that belief system is that like the whole thing, the whole process takes fuel, and that's what this is about, is the cycle of life and death fuels kind of the whole, like Amit, I think it fuels Amit, but it also fuels the whole process itself. Like basically there couldn't be anything without like death and reincarnation.
So what is it that's eating the heart? Is it, you say, an alligator?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, alligator, crocodile, I don't know.
So is there just one of these?
I think
it's
so.
Just forever, like just churning out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just one. Yeah,
I guess I could get behind that.
There's a lot of crocs in the Nile, so
A lot of crocs in Florida, and look how that's going. So.
Yeah, it's a crazy ride, man, and you know, none of us know what the fuck is going on. I think some people will tell you they know what's going on, and it's like, you need to listen to me and give me your money because I can help you in the next life. And it's like it's probably like one of the worst things you could do for money.
Yeah, what was Joel Osteen in a previous life, I wonder?
A piece of shit.
Yeah, he was the flower in the porta potty.
Yeah.
Definitely in Florida too.
And that they were like, you were a flower in a porta potty in Florida.
Yeah.
And that was your life. So we're
Boca Raton.
so we're gonna downgrade you into being Joel Osteen.
I don't know. He doesn't really seem that miserable. He seems like he's doing pretty well for himself.
Oh,
It's a fair point, you know.
Hey, religion's big business.
That it
Sure
is,
is.
man.
Always has been.
Yeah.
Oh, have you guys seen that dude? Oh my god, I can't remember his name. He's like ancient, but he sells these like huge meal bucket things. Jim Baker, I think is his name. I don't know, but he's like an evangelist like that, like on like televangelist. He's like, buy my macaroni, my 60 pounds of macaroni in this gallon bucket.
Your soul will be cleansed with the macaroni.
What?
Oh man, I used to, if you know Vic Berger or like Tim Heidecker, like Vic Berger like does stuff with Tim Heidecker these days, but he used to work for oh my god, Super Deluxe, and do super cuts of like just cut up videos of Jim Baker's show, like where he was trying to hawk these like, you know, survival kits of ridiculous amounts of food for the after, like Armageddon or whatever. It was so
So
funny.
that's how he's
That though, I don't want to eat a bunch of macaroni in the Armageddon.
You say that until the Armageddon comes.
Rich flour, it's not even good for you. Be all fucking chubby in the end, like
Man, I gotta take a
apocalypse, dude.
nap now. And hopefully, I don't get shot with an arrow in the fucking eyeball.
yeah, you're in a survival situation. All you have is instant ramen, and it's like, this has no nutritional value for me.
It's like the water around me has been contaminated. I can't even make it. Has to be just a dry block of ramen. Yeah.
I mean, I would put some of the seasoning packet in.
Yeah,
the
you got
ramen
it.
water.
You can lick
Not
it
all of
and
it because that's way too salty, but like like half.
Get a little
Right.
sodium headache.
I mean, I feel like the four of us could really ride out some cholera together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what cholera would be. Yeah. God, when was that erratic? That was big in the
I think cholera is still around.
30s.
What is it?
Cholera, contaminated drinking water. Just
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Big in like the early
everyone was
industrial.
dumping their poo in the water because they were like,
Oh,
"Oh, this is water. Like we could just dump whatever we want in there." And, we
Gotcha.
Drink the water and
and that didn't end so well.
no.
I mean, you know, trial and error though. We wouldn't know without their sacrifice.
No, for sure.
All right, fuck, marry, kill. Cholera, dysentery, giardia.
Because I know all three of those.
Yeah. All feel like rooted
I
in
know
the
what all
same
that is.
terrible experience.
Fuck, marry, kill all of them.
Yeah.
In that order.
I'm attracted to danger.
When was the last time you cried? Let's start with Ricky.
If
Okay,
you look on the bottom
He is
of the
crying,
brain, actually,
yeah.
it's a little moist.
This is a little moist.
so right now,
Yes,
this conversation was like, he's like, this is so fucking stupid.
I cried a little bit at the microwave show on Friday, I'm not gonna lie. Because like that band, when my fiance and I started dating, we met on an app. So we're like, what is the story? What's the lie that we're gonna tell our children, our families, about how we met organically? And we were like, we both love going to live shows. So she would go to Exit In and End a bunch, even before dating me, like she would go alone. She'd be like, I'm going to meet friends at these shows. And so Microwave was just one of those bands that we mutually were like, oh, you listen to this band? I love this band. You listen to this song? And, during COVID, we would listen to Much Love, which was their album in like 2015, 2016. That got me into them. And the song Dull is like going to be our wedding song. So that comes on, and it's just, I don't know, it's very emotional for the two of us.
How
so.
fucking cute.
I like to think so.
How
The song
fucking
itself,
cute.
though, if you listen to it, it definitely has some questionable subject matter. It's about like one night stands and stuff, but it just has like a very nice groove to it. And I don't know, it's
So
not a common choice. It's not like Whitney Houston or anything of that matter, but I feel like it's true to the two of us. So
that's what's up.
So
Years from
Sort of
now,
slow dancing in the mosh pit.
years from now, Perry and Alex's kids, if you're watching this part was a lie, and what they told you is true. Yeah,
Fair. It's on record now.
it's on record as a lie, so you're still good.
Yeah, I think music and movies make me cry more
Same.
than other
Oh, yeah.
things that probably should make me cry.
I'm
Because
the
a
same
lot of
way.
it, I feel
so
like,
feel that.
yeah, because I
It
feel
digs
like
into you, yeah.
as a generation, we've become desensitized to a lot of fucked up shit that probably would cause people to cry more. But yeah,
I feel you on that. I'm very much like it. Like when something happens, I just kind of like process it and just like get through that.
right.
And it's like, but yeah, some piece of media, like that's what'll get me. What about you? Do you remember?
I feel like I don't cry very much, but I'm not ashamed of crying because if I do cry, it's about something. I feel like the last time, and I mean, granted, this shouldn't be the last time I cried because my grandpa literally died 2 days ago, and I didn't tell you that. I'm sorry.
I'm so
I know,
sorry.
it's okay. He was really not doing well for a while, but like,
Oh my goodness.
I was watching The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Watch that
Oh.
show. The episode with the two dudes
Yeah.
on the farm. I didn't cry a lot, but there was a little bit of moisture at the end of that. At
That
the
was
end
a
of
good
that
one.
episode, spoiler alert, when they
I haven't started yet.
poison themselves together. Oh my god! Like it
The whole
was
episode,
so
I was
so
like,
beautiful. There was mist. There was mist for sure.
Yeah, that's a good. That was a good answer.
Yeah.
It's like,
That one pulled my heart. I was like, that's so
Was that-
so beautiful?
did you watch that after your granddad died? Oh, you
Oh
said
no,
was
that
before.
happened 2 days ago. That was a couple. Yeah.
You'll process that next time
No,
you watch
it's,
Last
you
of
know,
Us
it's
or
different when
something.
someone's been sick for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like kind of like waiting for that day to happen because like no one wants to be in that quality of life.
Yeah.
But apocalypse, mushroom people,
Nick Offerman.
Nick
Nick
Offerman
Offerman.
in love with another man for decades. I was misting.
Yeah, I actually just watched. I've watched the show and now I'm watching it again with a friend of mine, and I noticed watching that episode again. It's like Joel and Tess show up for like a dinner party.
Yeah.
With them, but that's when they were young. So I'm like, wait a minute, they've known them for like 20 years at the point that like Joel and Ellie show back up. I didn't realize that the first time. I'm like, they were friends with them for like decades.
Yeah.
What about you, Gabe?
Do you guys know the band Granddaddy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just shuffling some music the other day, and Hewlett's Daughter by them came on. It just hit me some type of way. I was driving, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Oh god, oh no, it's so good. And just like I don't know why, I just like one of those where it hits. When it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. The fact that like we can make things, whether it's a TV show or a piece of music that like really like resonates and affects people, I think is probably one of the most important things we could do like as a species.
Mhm.
Does that song have any particular like meaning to you?
No,
What's the
it
story
was the
about?
first
Just-
time I'd heard it, and
Yeah.
it was just like so sentimental sounding, and like the way it was constructed, it was just like, this is an incredible piece of music, like it's like whenever you listen to the song, it's like, oh, kind of basic in a way, but it just the way they delivered it is so like I don't know, it just hit for some reason, I couldn't explain it. I was like, why am I sobbing this
Right.
song? It's not even sad. It's
I know Granddaddy
Beautiful.
threw a pup cover of I think 880 FM it's called.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's like the main song of theirs I know. So I'll definitely check them out more.
Is it Casual Sex that did the cover. I know it's one of Jack's. Either Casual Sex or Big If True, but they do A180 also.
Okay. Anyway,
So that's
nice.
how I like learned of that band too, and
Mhm.
then I have listened to them ever since. But yeah, I love Granddaddy.
So, how do you think human life began? Not life in general, but the deviation from
Australopithecus to
yeah.
whatever we are.
Is there a missing link? Were we put here?
I do kind of buy into that stone ape theory a little bit in terms of just
That's
some
one of
alien.
that's one of the ones that makes the most sense to me too.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, primates, foraging, found mushrooms, found hallucinogenics in nature, and that was the start of their level of consciousness at a very base level. So,
Yeah. Some it would be the oldest psilocybin containing mushroom that would have been around at that period is called I think it's psilocybin hispanica, and it would have been like a big one. So it wouldn't be hard to find. Whereas like psilocybin, I think it's cubensis, is just like a tiny little mushroom. Like it's like kind of long with like a thin cap on it. These would be like bigger mushrooms for sure. So that one makes sense to me, or that there was some kind of like, okay, this is off. I'll bring this back around, but I had a band called Platypus 9 on. You guys know that?
I know Platypus.
Yeah. So I was talking to Joseph Page about.
I was gonna say I want to hear his response to this.
Great episode. That was fucking great because we got on this subject and Joseph Page started telling me about platypi. The platypus is bioluminescent. It's a mammal that lays eggs. It has a beak.
A venomous spur.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an anomaly.
It's a fucking anomaly.
It should not exist.
Exactly. And I'm like, you know what? I'm convinced. Like that
it
did not
milk.
occur.
It doesn't have nipples, so it like secretes. It's so weird.
What the fuck is going on with the platypus? And I'm like, that itself raises a lot of questions to me. Where I'm like, that shit didn't happen. That shit didn't just happen. Like humans make more sense to me than the platypus. So I'm kind of on Joseph Page's camp about where we came from. It's like some kind of genetic manipulation of some kind, but like a higher intelligence. Besides that, the stoned ape theory, I think, is the most likely thing to me. Is like some kind of like a hallucinogen or something that like raised consciousness. But that was my rant. Do you have any input on this, Russell?
I mean, there's just no way of us knowing.
That's true. Yeah.
Stoned ape theory works for me. I mean, I love the alien theories because I feel like it's just we're such like scientific robot creatures. Like everything we do is just so like we're just so programmed to be exactly what we are, and like all our human urges and the things. But like I don't know if I really believe that because like I just just not educated, like didn't really know or base that up by anything. But it's just like, how could it all be a coincidence or happen like so naturally when I feel like even like still they're finding things like, oh, maybe the Big Bang didn't happen. Oh, like we just discovered something that completely is like 10,000 years older than the oldest thing that we thought we knew. Like it's like I don't know if we could know.
The like a natural evolution over like millions of years of monkey to human also makes sense to me. Like that I think it like none of us had said that the earth is 5,000 years old and we originated from two people that were put here. I don't think that's any of our preferred idea about what happened, which is interesting because the people that wrote the Torah, like those ancient rabbis, did not take that shit literally, and they didn't expect the people they were giving it to take it literally. That's like a very modern Christianity thing where they're like, yeah, that shit literally happened. And it's like people have only believed that for like 500 years, and I think that's kind of part of our history that's not a lot of people know that, especially Christians. but like ancient Jews did not. They believed it, but not in a literal sense.
Sure.
It's like there's a lot of truth in I. So I'm a big. Obviously, I grew up reading the Bible, and I'm still very fascinated with the Hebrew literature. Greek, New Testament's also interesting, but I find the Old Testament very fascinating, and this is kind of a tangent, but basically there's a thing called gematria. Have you guys ever seen the movie Pi?
Yes.
Okay, so he's like
The film The Tiger on the boat.
that's Life
Life
of
of
Pi.
It's Life of Pi.
Okay. I don't
You
think
know
I've
what I'm
seen Pi.
talking about.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I have seen that movie.
Yeah. So basically, this guy thinks he's found pi. It's hard to explain. There's this tech company that's after this guy because he's like decoded pi, and like Hasidic Jews track him down as well, and they're like, "What you're onto right now is the name of God," and then like so basically in ancient Hebrew literature, there's they were really, really serious about the way they told stories. Like there's a formula, and if you're deviating from this formula, you're not doing it right.
As Jews, we can confirm it's like this still with most things.
Gotta keep it kosher.
Gotta keep it kosher. Can't veer from the Haggadah at all.
So, were you raised religiously?
No, like reformed.
Okay.
Like we did the holidays, and like I went to Hebrew school and got bar mitzvah, but like the Jewish study kind of stuff.
I gotcha.
I'm a Hebrew school dropout myself. Like,
Okay,
after the bar mitzvah,
dropout.
yeah, because my parents wanted me to keep going after my bar mitzvah, and I was like,
Oh
no,
no, you don't.
Yeah.
not happening.
I didn't go to Hebrew high school either.
So you grew up in like a practicing household, and then kind of as you got older, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, it's a very more cultural aspect. I mean, Long Island as a whole has very large Jewish population. So it's just kind of like the familiarity aspect. But no, I mean, I appreciated that level of education and just knowing the stories and all the history that went into it. But I definitely didn't go into the full serious, traditional aspects of, I love bacon cheeseburgers. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I can read Hebrew. I just can't.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
what
that's
it means.
awesome.
I don't know what it means. Like I still know how to read it.
I gotcha.
Actually, I have a Hebrew tattoo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Ancient lettering.
Do you
It means if not now, when?
That's cool. I have a friend that's shout out to Danny Burgess. But he's been on the show several times, but he is even more into like gematria and Hebrew literature than I am. And like he'll go in and like read it in Hebrew and like tell me this exactly what it means, like not just the interpretation, but like I mean there is a little bit of that because you can't translate something without interpreting it, but the shit's crazy. Like the way Hebrews like okay, like if you were to there's a word for this, but like you compare letters to numbers, like A is 1, B is 2. When you do this in Hebrew and then like read it and then convert it into numbers, there's like equations and shit. Like there's number patterns.
Well, Chai is, 8 plus 10 is 18, and that's why you have so many intervals of 18 within Jewish culture.
That's why you have like really shitty like gifts when you're like on birthdays. Like here's $36.
72, yeah. So it's like
like on your 18th birthday, like here's $72.
Okay, that's interesting. So that carries into the culture as well. I don't know a lot about that. I just think that's neat.
The numerology definitely is an aspect of it that's interesting.
Yeah, and they had this other thing. I think it's called chiastic literature, but it was one of these formulas for storytelling where it's like a story has to start where it ends, and there's other conditions for this. It's like a really specific thing, but the idea of a golem, like there's that ancient Jewish story about the mud golem where the guy like puts the name of God in its mouth and it like comes to life and defends the town. they certain certain rabbis believed that you could create a golem within a narrative. So not even within the pages itself, but in a story.
Well,
And like in the New Testament, Jesus talks about how the Torah is the living word of God. And I don't think Christians really stop to think about that, where it's like, you know, whether that was whether they really believed it at the time or not, they were very serious about this method of storytelling. And I think, you know, like the Bible is one of those things like with tarot cards. It's like you're flipping through and then you pull one out and it's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense to me. Like I've heard so many stories about Jews or Christians opening up the Bible just to a random page, and it's like, that's so weird. This applies to me today in this moment. And I think there's something to that about it's less so about what you're reading and more about your experience with this thing. Yeah, it's we're way off now, but
was
no,
in many
but-
ways, isn't this the point of the show though?
Yeah.
Down a rabbit hole.
We were prepped like, oh yeah, we're gonna go way off real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's keep.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. I'm not a believer in religious text in a literal sense, because that's not what the authors intended you to believe about it. But I do believe that the people that wrote that were vastly more intelligent than me or anyone I know for that matter. Just like the only thing I can really figure out like about Gematria with the number patterns is like it's so in depth that I wonder if the Hebrew language was composed in conjunction with the Torah. Because it's like I could write a story and you could like in English, and then you convert it into numbers and it's just a random string of numbers. It doesn't mean anything. Or I could write some numbers that mean something, but then if you convert it to letters, now it's gibberish again. So how do you do both? It doesn't make any sense to
I
me.
don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know if that tie-in is as strong as
Very,
you would
very
hope.
bright minds.
Yeah.
Very bright minds.
Yeah, it have to be like vastly more intelligent than like our society today. So it makes me wonder about like if you go back to Egyptians, pyramids. Let's say there's not any alien interference with that. Let's say people just did that, right? With like super precision. It's like one of the greatest feats of human ingenuity of all time. And it's like, but they didn't discover electricity or how to harness electricity. What's that about? Because that seems like kind of like an easy one to me. It's like, I don't know, maybe not, you know, maybe it's the ability to harness electricity is like bigger than I realize, I guess. But it seems like if you're able to do these amazing feats, it's like, or like the Romans is like Roman concrete, Roman fire, like certain things they did, they're just phenomenal. But you didn't harness electricity, you know, it's weird to me.
Lightning is scary, man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Not
so,
the Ben Franklin.
yeah, it's
Nothing with this kite.
Ben Franklin's got his kite with the key. That's a funny. I like that one. Or like George Franklin chopping down the tree. I cannot tell a lie. So we have actually, that's to get on that. We have some really weird folklore, even like in America, like where it's like just some weird, like almost like ancient, archaic stories for things that are not true at all. Like Columbus discovering America, or Ben Franklin with the key. It's like, why is that even a thing that we say?
Yeah, how are we not taught about
Mythology.
like the Vikings sailing to Canada and all that? Like, why was that not included in the? I don't know.
It's the same reason why like America is like so much bigger on the map than it is actually like
Yeah, true.
in proportion, because like we're, you know, it's America, baby.
So egocentric.
Big.
Like compared to
Big to go
Africa.
home.
We're big.
Compared to Africa, compared to everything. It's like
Yeah.
we just blew up the size because like we're bigger than everyone.
We're bigger, better, faster, stronger, you know?
Yeah.
Daft Punk.
And they're French.
Yeah.
Dude, so much good house music comes out of France. Just making that note. Justice, amazing.
There's
Oh
a
yeah, oh yeah.
there's this really crazy experimental band called Igor. You know Igor?
Oh,
Yeah,
I know Igor.
Igor's so good.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking love Igor, man. And they're from France as well.
Is it a guy or a
Nice.
band?
I think it's a guy that
Oh.
also like that has an idea and he just knows all these great studio musicians,
Yeah.
so he just gets them involved with whatever the project is at the time.
Because I'm
It's
pretty
like,
sure
yeah.
George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse did like guest vocals on a thing. Like
Shit.
it's
Oh yeah, he
super
did. I saw that.
metal, industrial, electronic. Yeah. I'll play some of the shit for you later. You're gonna be like, what? No, listen.
Igor's fucking great. That's
Don't underestimate my ability of.
But then he's like, oh, I have to
Experimental
remind people
music.
that I'm French, so I'm gonna put some accordion in there. you
Yeah,
know.
the accordion, it just throws me every time. It's so good.
I'm so glad you guys know Igor.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite fucking things.
I found Igor just shuffling Venetian snares radio, and I feel like that's a natural progression. You know?
Yeah.
You showed us this really cool radio app over the pandemic where it's
Was
like
that
you
right?
can-
Radio with a bunch of O's.
It might have
way.
been, but it's like you can
You
go
like
through
pick
a
the country and the era, and like the kind is like fast, slow, experimental, and you can listen to like experimental music from like France from like the 40s.
That's
Wow.
nuts.
It's actually really cool. It's actually really cool. I
That's
made
fucking
a playlist of like
I'm
really
gonna
strange
write that.
stuff. I found.
Radio with 3 O's.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
There's like like if you like get into like Eastern music, it's like completely different scales of shit.
Yeah, they don't,
Mhm.
and like the time signature is way different.
Yeah. It's just interesting. Like it's on to do something like that, you'd have to relearn everything you know, like being in the Western world to like
Mhm.
to make that happen. You'd have to just forget everything you know and start over, which I'm not an instrumentalist. I'm not a music guy, but I imagine that's like learning a new language.
We have
It
a
would-
song. I mean, the bridge in Cultured Sculptures has that Middle Eastern feel to it. What's that?
It's just
Yeah.
harmonic minor though.
Okay.
That's American. It's American sounding like trying to
Yeah, I
sound
feel
all
like-
exotic.
yeah.
That's why like the 60s was so psychedelic, because they were just like exploring new types of like ragas and stuff. We were talking about that whenever
Yeah.
me and Scott were on, but
They just have
Like-
to take like pieces of it too.
Yeah,
They just like we
yeah.
can learn like a couple Indian scales and throw it in
Yeah.
here and like holy shit, no one's ever even like seen or heard this before.
There's I can't remember the name of the group, but there was I think it's in India, but they're like they have it set up in such a way where it's like when they're having a conversation with each other, like the notes are like words, and so it's like there is like this formula, but it's like literally a conversation taking place, like they could communicate that way. And I don't
Peter Frampton.
is that right?
Do
you
feel
Yeah.
the talk box?
Frampton comes alive. Kiss Alive 3.
I can't remember what it was that I'm thinking of, but yeah, there's a lot you can do with music, and I think like in Western society, it's kind of like in a vein where like you can borrow things, but it's like you're still adopting that into like a framework that's recognizable.
Yeah.
Music's a weird thing. It's I do know that like when you start to practice it, your brain actually develops in a different way. I think that's a big part of like why like get this ingrained in kids like at a young age, because it actually it's like working out a muscle. Like your brain starts to develop differently.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
they say it's great for preventing dementia in the future and just, keeping your neural pathways aligned. So, yeah, I don't ever plan on stop being musical. I mean, I definitely took a break in college because I thought I was going to be a broadcast journalist. But yeah, I definitely regretted, not playing drums as much. I did audition for like the I went to school up in Syracuse, so big college basketball atmosphere. So I auditioned for like the pep band to play up there,
Oh, yeah.
but I lost out to like actual music majors. So curse you. But then I got to go get drunk and go to basketball games. So not
Fair.
a bad consolation.
Yeah.
In your own words, what is the meaning to life?
42.
Oh, good answer. We did Hitchhiker's Guide on the book club at one point. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a crazy read. There's like 6 of them. I didn't realize because I'd only seen the movie.
I've only seen the movie too, and that was ages ago. So,
I was like a child.
but no, in a more serious response to that question, I'd like to at least just leave this plane in a state better than how we found it, whatever that means, whether it's an individual basis. Obviously, being part of a community, I think, is very important, and just trying to impact other people's lives in a way that you can look back and be proud of. So I think at base level, the meaning to life is just, forming connections and being a human being and not an AI robot like so many of us have become.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Hey, Perry used a chat GPT in a cover letter. He is an AI robot now.
Yeah. You got to make the robots work for you still.
No,
ChatGPT is
100%.
crazy.
I know I haven't used it myself, but like we'll see.
It's getting wild. Like AI is, it's just like
Like we are in the future now.
yeah.
Future.
I've got Chrome than I would have thought.
I've got more to say about AI, but what do you think the meaning of life is?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it changes, but where I'm at right now is I think it's just all those little things. Just all the tiny little things. Because every time, like, it's bad for your health to just obsess about where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be going, trying to control people and things around you to make your life better. It's just about somehow making it through every day. Just being a positive person, doing whatever you love and whatever your purpose is, and within reason. We all like work and shit and like try to be respectable members of society, but like I think it's just about just being genuine to what's around you, doing the things you actually want to do, maintaining the relationships you want to maintain, and seeing what you just don't know how, like, what can change.
I think I really like what you said about like being genuine. I think that's a really good answer, is being true to who you are, because a lot of society will make you conform. It's and part of our society is conforming. Like
It is
like
absolutely.
work.
It also comes with like relationships with people too. Like you shouldn't be putting a lot of work into relationships with friends, like family, whoever, that you're not able to like maintain yourself, like if you're not wholeheartedly in something and like don't really know where you stand on certain things, or having trouble getting like yourself through the day. It's like, how could you be that person for anyone around you? Are you just going to go and float through and just kind of be a fixture in people's lives? Or you're going to really participate in what's going on?
Yeah.
Wait, easier said than done, but all you can do is try and just try to go around not being an asshole and just showing some love, and
I think
seeing people for what they are, recognizing that, and trying to squeeze as much joy as you can, because who the fuck knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
mushroom apocalypse.
It's coming, dude.
Yeah, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine, because if it happens while we're here in the studio, we got the 3D printer, we got the brain, like
we'll just build a rocket, go into space.
Yeah, we could.
There's the technology.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild it. Just build a Death Star that's like the size of Earth in space, and just like hope that the mushrooms don't develop rockets to come get us.
Mushroom Rocket sounds crazy.
Mushroom Rocket's a good band.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, we probably have enough people in this room right now to start a new band. Mushroom Rocket. Although, actually, it kind of sounds like a dick.
It does.
That's why it's perfect.
This is actually, it's not really like swaying for it.
Yeah, it's like now, okay, now we're doing it.
Join the likes of Tool, Sex Pistols, all the euphemisms.
Cage Elephant is about you masturbating. Apparently.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
What?
Pearl Jam.
Oh yeah,
Pearl
yeah.
Jam?
Pearl Jam.
Mhm.
Cage the Elephant, huh?
Yeah, it's a euphemism.
Wow.
The more you know. Back to the AI thing, like ChatGPT and all that shit. And we are at a very, and I'm sure every generation has felt this way, but we're at a very unique and important time in history. Like we've had automobiles for a little over 100 years. We've had like telephones for significantly less amount of time, internet for even less amount of time, and
Wireless internet.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like we're talking about like 150 years max, right? About like let's take cars out of the equation, just like telephones is like 50 years maybe, and that's like this tiny little speck in the span of human history, you know. And it's in that short amount of time we've had, now we have AI. And it's like, so okay, so technology is not like a progressive gradient. It's like you go up and then it's boom, and then now we're at another just even bigger boom where it's like the world will not be recognizable in 10 years,
Yeah.
not 100 years.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
It is
It's
fucking nuts.
it's a wild ride, and I'm glad to be sharing it with you guys. This is,
Likewise.
it makes it a lot easier and comfortable to know that we're not alone. If you have crazy anxiety about all this, that's completely normal, because no one knows what the fuck to do or where we're headed. We have weapons that can destroy the world 100 times over, and we're just all hoping that no one uses it, which it's getting tenuous. Like that could happen. That could easily happen in our lifetimes. And we're all just kind of fingers crossed that egotistical dictators don't do that. And we live in a perpetual state of it could just all blow up at any time. And
This is true. It's been like this for a long time, though. I mean,
Yeah.
all the music we like is all born out of that notion of,
You're right. Yeah.
ever since the 1940s.
that's a good point.
It's always been like that. Or
it-
not always, but like,
there's probably something to be said about like art thrives in this kind of circumstance, actually.
you're talking about the Beatles, that kind of music wouldn't have been so big if it wasn't for Vietnam.
Yeah.
The total, like, people had a reason to go out and feel passionate and connected to music that took them out of the comfort zone.
It reminds me of like Woody Guthrie too, like this
Mhm.
machine kills fascists.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. That's a good point. Like we wouldn't have a lot of the things that we really value without the struggle and the anxiety.
But in the same breath, it's like you look at the music festival lineups of those days and you look at them for these days, and it's not really a reflection. It's more of a distraction.
Yeah.
A distraction.
Let me
That's
go
right.
and get super fucked up and see this artist. And blah,
You ever
blah,
see videos of Woodstock, though? I don't know. If
Yeah,
they were
no,
really
they
doing that
were
much,
fair.
planning
Yeah,
to
that's a
save
good
the
point.
world
It's not
with
for us
that
to
thing.
say.
That's a good
It's like,
point.
let's fuck in the mud.
Yeah. I'm a humanist. I think people are good at their core. I think we, hurt people hurt people. It's like things happen and then people perpetuate that evil, but that's not who they are. That's not at their being. And I think it makes me wonder about like, I don't know about like reptilian overlords or anything like that. But
You were talking about a crocodile before that eats souls.
I guess that's a reptilian overlord.
Ancient idea.
Underlord.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not new agey reptile
Fair,
people.
fair.
That's ancient Egyptian. So that's more valid because it's old.
Fair. Pre-Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Time I kind of get
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for coming.
For sure.
We'll probably end here in a minute.
Yeah, no,
thanks for coming,
okay.
Gabe.
for sure.
Hey, good to see you again, man.
Russell,
Great
yeah.
show last night.
Yeah, great
y'all too.
weekend.
When's your
Yeah,
next
man.
gig?
When's ours? TBD, I believe. I don't think we have a date.
What about the Hound Dog Symphony show?
All right.
Oh yeah.
22nd.
May 22nd.
May 22nd.
22nd.
Right on.
Yeah.
Is that a Monday night?
Yeah. Cafe Coco.
Okay, cool.
I don't think I've been.
I don't know who I'm playing with. I'll release the details whenever I can.
Awesome.
See you, man.
Good
Drive
seeing you,
safe.
Gabe.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll wrap up here in a minute. What were we just talking about?
Reptilians.
Oh yeah, it makes me like with how fucked up reality is and just our societies, our governments. It makes me wonder if it actually is people, or if it's at the tippity top of things, or is that UFOs coming down and telling people you have to control your people in this way. You have to teach them things that aren't true about physics and nuclear technology, just blatantly not true. Or maybe AI is more advanced than the common people are aware of, and it's like,
I
hey,
definitely think so. They don't just give that technology to the common person if they don't have it completely figured out.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's like when they were developing nuclear technology, it's like super compartmentalized. Even the people working on it don't interact with each other. It's like you
Right,
work
oh,
on
yeah.
this very specific thing, and it would make complete sense. Like if nuclear technology is powerful, AI is like this whole other thing. So it's like it would completely make sense for, and of course the governments know more about it than we do. Like they're definitely withholding information. I guess the question at that point is to what degree, like to what scale.
I mean, if it was up to you, would you trust the common people of America with such technology?
More than I would the government,
True that.
you know. I think the government's not only, and not just our government here, but definitely them too. They're not just incompetent. They're, because I mean, you got a lot of brilliant minds working on it. It's malicious. Like it's they don't have good intentions for people. Um, I I don't want to be that hyperbolic, but that's kind of where I'm fucking at, you know.
It's hard to see otherwise, you know. We've known more about the inner workings of the American political machine now than we ever have, and we're only going to learn more.
Yeah,
So that's interesting.
yeah. Shit gets declassified, and it's like, oh, y'all were doing that, huh? Man, hypnosis is crazy. You guys seen the movie Get Out?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So I'll make this quick. The the first time I did MDMA, Molly, was I thought I'd done it a few times before, but then when I actually did it, I was like, oh no, I don't know what that other shit was, but this is Molly, and I, for some reason, I decided I was gonna like take 2 points and then watch Get Out, which is a horrible idea. Fucking awful idea.
I'm curious as to where this is going.
And it got to that point. You said you both have seen it, right? Yeah. Okay. So it got to the point where he goes outside to smoke a cigarette and he comes back in and the mom is sitting there.
Right.
And she's like, come sit here with me for a minute. And oh man, he's sitting across from her and she's doing the thing where she's like ringing the cup. And then she just starts asking him introspective questions about himself. And at a certain point, he goes like, wait a minute, are we already? And then like she puts him back under. But when he did that, I had a moment where I'm like, wait, what am I doing right now? Like, I was like, what the fuck is this movie? And I got up and turned it off. And I'm like, fuck this movie. I'm not fucking doing this. I'm like, this movie's fucking with me. And like, okay, so I went back and watched it again.
Okay, good.
Not in that state of mind, you know? And I'm like, I was definitely overreacting. But it does make me think about, are these things like if you are in a heightened suggestibility, which MDMA is definitely one of those things where like you are very easily influenced. Are they aware of the effects that this will have on people? Is this intentional? You know, and I'm not saying Jordan Peele's trying to mind control people, but it just got me thinking a lot about like media and I think hypnosis is very powerful. Is kind of the summation of that story.
Oh yeah.
And MDMA too. So like,
Yeah.
my fiance studies biochemistry and specifically like the serotonin transporter. So with MDMA as an amphetamine, you know, it depletes your levels of dopamine and serotonin, and you're just kind of like left the next day, you know,
Depleted.
just depleted
Mhm.
and burnt out. And so, yeah, if that gets
You
into
should
the
watch
wrong
Get Out the
hands,
next
you
day.
should
You
watch
watch
Get
the
Out
fucking
and
Disney
just.
or something.
Yeah.
But where I was going with this was just like, if you're depleted and suggestible, there's definitely an element of vulnerability there that, the wrong hands could manipulate.
Yeah.
So,
And not all brains should be using that particular drug.
no,
Yeah.
but
Not
this
all
one
of them.
can.
So that one, yeah.
We're gonna brain poke MDMA into Ricky's brain.
Yes, May 5th.
that's when you
And then
can
again on May 19th or 20th.
come see it
Okay.
live. Perry's gonna inject MDMA into Ricky's brain. I'm not sure if he knows about this, but he'll find out. So,
Ugh,
oh
that
man,
won't go well. He's gonna play so fucking fast. I'm not gonna be able to play. Or he won't be able to hang.
He's just gonna start stroking the bass strings just very
Quickly.
Yeah.
He just touches it, and My Name Is Mud gets played. It's
Oh,
like,
there you
okay.
go.
my name is
Drugs are good, I guess.
Brain poke out tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, and then the 19th. That's Sleeper's coming out, and then the release show, Front Room Cobra free show with chemtrails and
Psychic nurse.
Chemtrail and Psychic Nurse.
520.
yeah, be there or be a square, which is not something you want to be. That's kind of lame.
No, don't be a square.
I really appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks for having us on.
This has been really fun.
Absolutely.
I know this is you're shy right now, Ricky, but you guys remember like in Futurama with the talking heads?
Oh yeah,
That's what this
I
reminds
love
me of.
Futurama. It was like my favorite show growing up.
That Futurama is like, it's silly, but they touched on like a lot of like really deep shit in that show.
Mhm.
That's my
The
favorite
episode
too.
with the dog.
The dog.
What was the dog's name? Like the dog who like waited for Fry outside the pizza shop. Like,
I don't think I've seen that
oh
one.
my god, they talk about crying.
Yeah.
If you want to get a good cry in.
Do you remember the Beast with a Billion Backs?
Yeah.
The movie they did. Man, that one.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like Futurama 2.0.
Oh, okay.
So they canceled
like-
it and brought it back.
Gotcha. I think I was probably like pretty young the first run, so I'm probably more familiar with the later stuff then.
Yeah, I watched actually. I think I haven't watched like the most recent season, but they kept it strong.
It's still going?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a guy who likes his adult animation.
Yeah, no, you can't go wrong with that.
I like my Simpsons, my Futurama, South Park still
Mouth.
going strong. Big
South
Mouth's
Park.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, those are my big two. Also, it's Futurama and South
I was
Park.
basically raised by South Park, which is why I am the way I am. Fuck you, kid. Yeah, I've been watching the new episodes of South Park since the metrosexual episode, which I think came out in like 2004 or something, 2006. So
South Park is, like you said, still going really fucking strong. Like, which is interesting because like I don't think Comedy Central is as edgy as South Park is. Where it's
Well, that's
like,
why it's now all on like HBO Max, Paramount.
oh, is it?
Are there? I guess Comedy Central has to
I think it
have.
still has it. I
Yeah,
don't know, like who has cable TV?
that's fair.
That's a good point. Yeah, nobody.
Nobody. My mom still has cable TV. My
So
brother does too, for some reason.
I mean, I
He
guess
settled
that's-
down.
Well, the Long Island is like, wait, am I supposed to watch News 12? Gotta watch News 12 Long Island.
news and like
If you're into sports, I
sports.
guess.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I guess that's. I'm not a sports guy, so I'm not. Are there other places you can watch sports, or is it
Yeah.
just pretty much cable?
So the NFL is going from Sunday Ticket through DirecTV to YouTube.
Oh shit!
So
you
with
have
like
to
a
do
YouTube
YouTube
premium subscription, I mean,
That's smart. That's
yeah,
a good move for them.
so it's gonna be a good move because there's so many good movies on YouTube and things too. So I might do that come September. Shall see.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
This has
yeah,
been a
of
lot of
course.
fun.
Thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Alice.
Yeah, thanks, Alice. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Check out these guys and what they're doing. Links below.